Hello, 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 and welcome to my favorite part of the week. It is Rent Rockstars live in the Rent to Rent Success Secrets Facebook group. It's the reality behind the rhetoric, what it's really like to run your own rent to rent business. And we're delighted this evening to be joined by Kayleigh Pritchett and Troy of TK Lifestyle Properties. Now, Kayleigh and Troy have got a property management company based in Bristol. They're managing 22 rooms. They've got a six-figure turnover, and they've got a great story because actually they just started now during the lockdown, and I think you're going to really love what they're going to share with us this evening and really learn a lot from it. So without any further ado, let me introduce Kayleigh and Troy, Rent to Rent Rockstars. How are you doing, guys?
Hi, yeah, we're good, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for having us on.
It is my pleasure. I have actually seen you on Instagram, been hugely impressed with all that you're posting over there and what you're doing. You've got a real nice design edge to things as well, which is lovely. And let's just start at the beginning with you both and say, what made you decide to get started in Rent to Rent?
Oh, well, it was a winded decision, actually. We went to, what first got us into property was we attended a free seminar, a property training seminar. We then went on to do the boot camp, 3-day boot camp. And from there, we learned all the strategies and stuff we could do. And we sort of sat down and had to figure out which strategies we want to go into. Which was a hard decision in the beginning anyway. We actually originally wanted to go with buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yeah.
Firstly, for me, in the beginning, I wasn't so keen on having tenants, and I also like the idea of pulling a house apart, like completely restarting it, freshening it up. That was like the plan for me. And we went on to go on with that. We attended quite a few viewings. Had some chats with investors and that kind of thing, and it just went on for quite a while, quite a few months, and we just kind of didn't get anywhere with it. So we sort of sat back and sort of readjusted where we were going with it, and just look back at the strategies, and then we sort of went to rent. Probably suit us a little bit more, just our situation, and then we just went from there.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's getting that investment on initially can take a while. So you decided to come into Rent to Rent, but it's actually been super quick for you, hasn't it? Because you were just saying just before, before we started recording, that actually you just started now in the lockdown.
Yeah, well, we
got our first deal.
Yeah, literally just before we went into lockdown.
So that's what I sometimes say, that actually lockdown can sort of create some opportunities that may not have come up if there had been no lockdown, if you know what I mean. But how long have you been looking? Give us a timeline of when you sort of was looking at the buy, refurb, refinance, and then when you came into Rent to Rent and started looking.
So it must have started from August. Started from August when we started looking at buy, refurbish, refinances, doing all the viewings, etc. And then must have been like a couple of months until we started just to look at the actual plan and be like, well, let's just rethink this. Rent to rent, it is the better strategy in terms of low capital, and then also you get the experience of managing. So if you've got the track record, you then attract investors when going on to buy first refinance. But we started looking for deals like October for Rent to Rent. And that was just like calling agents, doing the viewings with agents, going on Gumtree, messaging the landlords. The letters as well. And in Feb, that's when we got the first 2 deals.
So you started in October looking for rent to rents. You were going at it every different angle. So you were going to the agents, you were sending the letters, you were what was the other one? Agents Less Gumtree. You were Gumtreeing it.
Yeah.
So tell us what the results. Well, actually, let me just give a shout out. Avenita's watching from London, so we just want to say hi, Avenita. Thanks for joining us. And we've got Stella who's on as well. So if you have any questions, ladies, please do pop them in the comments and we'll answer them for you. But carry on. So you've got all these 3 different routes to getting a deal. What happened?
Yeah, so it was pretty funny actually. So I mean, it seemed like we was getting a lot of traction from Rightmove, even though a lot of the agencies say no, but that was what most of our time was spent on, calling the agents. And yeah,
I think originally that was sort of how we thought, like the main we would get our main deal from agents, because obviously you'd have the estate agents and stuff like that for standard property deals. And I think it was when we looked more into it, did more of our own sort of research, where we looked into different platforms.
Yeah, and yeah, but we come across a few agents. It was literally so close to closing a few deals as well with agents. There's probably 2 deals that just fell through last minute. It was so weird when it happened, because you get so excited, you think that's it's gonna happen, and then last minute, a landlord's just like, oh no, actually, I don't want to do it, and then it's like, just the carpet just gets pulled from your feet, and then. Yeah, I think that first one, it was supposed to happen probably November. And then the second one with another agent, it was supposed to happen in January, but things got a little bit messed up with our guarantor, so we couldn't go through referencing. But I mean, when we look at it now, I think it's probably best that we didn't go with those ones. I don't think they would have worked out. So I think everything happens for a reason, to be honest. And I think it's just another step towards the actual deal that you get. But
great thinking and mindset. So that's actually good to give us an idea. So if you can remember, you started in October, and approximately, and you got one deal that almost happened in November, and then one deal that almost happened in January from the agents. Can you remember how many agents you were calling, or were you visiting, or were you emailing? What sort of volume were you doing to get those 2 that were almost?
So I was targeting to ring, I believe, 10 a day, and I was targeting to try and get at least 5 viewings a week. So yeah, this was in line with my full-time job as well. So I was having to do it on my lunch break, and any other free time that I had. But it is normally on my lunch break, because that's the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday that I was working. Yeah, so that was it. So like 10 calls a day and trying to get 5 viewings a week. Sometimes I'd only get, say, 1 viewing a week. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to get all the calls in, but the target was to get 10 calls a day and 5 viewings a week.
Big targets when you're juggling it around the full time. It doesn't sound a lot, but when you're trying to fit all that in between, it's a lot. So so you got these 2, but that didn't work out. So when did you then decide to go on to the letters?
The letters, I think we probably started doing it November, but we started only sending 200 letters out. I know 200 letters, it sounds like a lot, but it's not really a lot with the conversion percentage that we see. It's right now it's less than 1%. So yeah, we got a few calls from it, but it just didn't turn into a deal. Like the house, it wasn't good, or the landlord, he didn't actually want to go through with it. But yeah, it was like November time when we started doing it. Then like 200 a month, and then when it come to lockdown, we just ramped it up and we sent out, I think, around about 1,500
in one go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that's when
what I like, commitment.
Yeah, that's when the 2 other deals came from those letters.
Wow. So you were sending 200 in November, maybe December, January, and then come the lockdown, say Marchy time, end of March, April, you just blam, 1,500.
Yeah.
We didn't have much time. Well, no, we had a lot of time actually because we were in lockdown. So.
And were you furloughed?
I was for a month.
And I was working from home, so we were sort of, it was together. It's more flexible, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. So you sent these 1,500 letters. Pick it up from there. What transpired?
So quite a few landlords called in. So one landlord called in, and we got to look at his properties. He had 2 properties, pretty much right around the corner from each other, both 5 beds, and that's one that we managed to pick up as a deal. We had another landlord that called. He's got an 8 bed. It's in a really good location in Bristol as well. Still having to chase them up right now to try and close it. But he definitely seems interested in the idea of pretty much handing over the management and getting the guaranteed rent. Then had another landlord. He's got I've seen a few of his houses. He's got more than, I think, 5 properties on his portfolio. So currently I'm working with him in terms of so we've been like renting some of his rooms out for him, just to keep on building up that relationship to hopefully eventually move on to a rent-to-rent deal.
That's brilliant. And I think, how many properties did you say you had before me? I tried to start guessing. 4. So you've now got 4 HMOs, and you really started. Well, I suppose is it August? Would you say November really in earnest with the rent to rent?
Yeah.
So you started in November, and you then got some offers in. Well, so it started in October. Got some offers in November, January. They didn't work out. Then you sent out loads of letters in the lockdown, and you've now got 4 HMOs. So tell us about the situation with the refurbishments. People do worry about that.
So with the 2 deals we got during lockdown, I mean, there weren't massive refurbs at all. I mean, there's a bit of paintwork here and there. We had some carpets put down, new flooring, and just stuff like that. So it wasn't massive. But then we obviously had to furnish the property. And this was 2 5-bed HMOs. And yeah, it was, unfortunately for us, because it was during lockdown, it was a bit of a slower process, because I think people were, short-staffed and working part-time and stuff like that. So unfortunately, lead time for stuff was a bit longer. And we did with these 2, we did actually get all the furniture ourselves. It was all flat pack, so we all built it all up. We had a team helping us build it together. Well, when I say we, I mean he did it. I put like 1 chest of drawers together because that's just not my thing. I was doing the painting and stuff like that. But yeah, so with those, it wasn't a massive refurb. It was just more of a time-consuming thing. And obviously for us, we had 2 empty 5-bed HMOs that we wanted to get up and running as soon as possible. Bearing in mind we both worked full-time.
Oh wow. Oh yes, but you're working from home. Yeah,
Troy was working from home. I was actually back in my full-time job.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a task, but we've learned a lot from that in the sense that we want more of a power team to sort of get them in to do the painting for us, to get people to, there's a company, I'm sure you've heard of Fusion. We want them to come in and get all the furniture in for us, because obviously you purchase the furniture through them. I think you can do lease options and stuff like that with the furniture, and they come in, they set it all up, they remove all the rubbish, all that stuff. That's definitely a big thing we learned with those 2 properties, just getting the people to come in, like professionals to come in and do their job and get it up and running a lot quicker.
Yes.
So
because sometimes the money you save, you don't actually save because it took you longer.
that's
So
one thing.
it can be cheaper. So I just want to say hello to Carol, who's also watching. So Troy, tell us one of your learnings. That was a good learning there from Kayleigh about getting people in. What would you say was your biggest learning from the first two?
I think one of the biggest learning is to advertise the property before it's ready. 100%.
Yeah.
Because like we had an initial deadline when we wanted to get the property ready, but say if we was advertising it from the start, we would have had people ready and waiting to move in, and it sort of would have helped to rush it along as well.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the biggest learnings right there. I think another one, it would just be to like be really strict with the deadlines, and in terms of when trying to get other trades in, just like sort it out straight away, because their lead times, it can differ, and once it's a long lead time, it can make the whole project be longer, and you're having to delay when it's actually getting ready. So I'd say advertise straight away, and then know the trades that's going to be coming in and organize them as soon as possible.
Yeah, even if it's an empty room, just take a photo of the empty rooms and just put it on spare room, just so you can sort of, people understand. You obviously put it in the description, it's not ready yet and it will be furnished. But people sort of get the idea of the room. One thing I learned from Urban Homes that did a live with you, I think a few weeks back now. They did say what they did was got one room ready and then advertise that room. And I thought that was quite a good idea. Instead of focusing on getting them all ready, it's good because then you can get interest in that one room. And I like that idea.
Yes, and you can just take the photos of the one room. Well, we did it different ways. We, like yourselves, took way too long on the first ones, and in our case, spent way too much money as well. And did you have a rent-free period on those two?
Yeah, so we had a rent-free period of 1 month in total.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. On our first ones, we didn't have a rent-free period, so that was one of our learnings.
Yeah. I mean, we would have preferred to get a longer one, because for the 1 month, it still wasn't ready, I don't think. And we were still trying to get it filled up.
Touches,
But I think the next one you will be ready in a month. A month is quite a generous one, in my opinion, unless there's a load of works that needs doing. What we started saying was, after the refurbishment, so our rent-free period doesn't start until after the refurbishment. So after the refurbishment, our rent-free period begins, and our rent-free period is 3 weeks. Okay. Usually that's what we ask for, 3 weeks. But obviously, if you can and you want to ask for more, that's fine. But what we could do then is during the refurbishment time, as you are just saying, we would start showing the rooms. And because we've got like so many properties now, we've got properties that look similar, and we can just put photos of a bedroom up and say, oh, this property is coming soon. It's going to look kind of like this. It's being fully refurbished, as you said. And then you just start the viewings as soon as one room is ready, even though sometimes the rest of the house looks like a bomb site. And people love it. They love it because everybody wants a freshly refurbished house.
Yeah, definitely.
So I love the learnings that you're giving us. One thing I want to go back with is you were very successful with the letting agents, actually, because sometimes people don't feel that confident with letting agents where they're starting out. So what were you saying? Who was going into the letting agents first of all?
It was myself. It's mainly just on the phone calling them. I went into a few of them. We got a good relationship with one of them, actually. I haven't got deals from them yet, but I think if we do get deals, it will be from them.
And they're more of the smaller, sort of independent, like local agents, rather than the big sort of.
I think that's great. And so what were you saying, Troy, when you were calling up? What were you saying to your letting agents that made them think, sounds all right, I'll come for a viewing?
So right now, because I've changed the script a couple of times, but the main thing that I was saying was just, the normal hello, Troy speaking, hello, hi Stephanie, how's your day? And then saying that I saw a house on Rightmove, can you tell me a little bit more about it? And then they describe it, say how long it's been on, say what it's about, and then I just say it sounds like something I'm looking for, and then I just say we currently work as a relocation agent, and we're looking for rooms for professionals, and right now we've got some clients that's waiting to move into rooms, and we're looking to do a corporate let with the landlord for 3 to 5 years. Do you think that's something that they'd be interested in? And sometimes that's when you get the straight no, or you get maybe. And then I mean, that's not the script perfectly. I'm still having to read off script, but that's pretty much how it goes.
Interesting, Troy. And I like having these conversations because people all do it, slightly different. And some people like to use the relocation and some people don't, but that's what's really been working for you. So that's great. Jane says she's finding this very informative, and thanks for sharing, guys. And Carol has a question. This all sounds great. How much was your startup costs?
Yeah, okay. So for the 2 5-beds, we spent, I believe, 3K each for the refurbishment. That's 6K for the refurbishment, and then we paid rent up front as well. So we paid 3 months rent up front. So that was another, what was that? 12K. So it wasn't a low money down one. But yeah, that was the start cost for that. So like probably 18K.
What I like about that actually is, we'll come to that in a moment, the 18K, but what I like about that is actually the upfront costs in your case will be paid off within 3 months. So it's not like you've got, did you need to give a deposit?
No deposit, no.
So to me, I prefer that to a deposit because the money's being used within the 3-month period and you're getting the income back through. And 3K, in my opinion, is quite good, is good, especially for your first, refurb, and it did need a bit doing to it. And so what's the cash flow on those?
So on one of them it's 550 and then the other one's 650. So 1,200 in total. Yeah, 1,200.
Yeah. So you had a little bit to pay off, but then you only have £3,000 to pay off, plus, voids and, the delays and whatever. So after not very long, you're into the profit. After a few, the first months, you're into profit. And
it worked as I think it was just less than 6 months for the initial 3,000 that was invested, because the 3 months rent up front, that just comes from the 3 months. Because as we got people moving in, they'll be paying the rent, and then we don't have to pay for the 3 months, so we just sort of recover that cost.
And if it's not too personal a question, and you don't mind me asking, how did you raise the money? Because I mean, to most people watching might think, oh, £18,000, that's a lot of money. How did you do that?
Yeah, so it was mainly funded through a bounce back loan. So it was
right, cool.
time when the bounce back loans was going through, and that was pretty much most of it.
That's very cool. Yeah. And the great thing about, there's a lot of controversy about bounce back loans, but I think that they're great if you know how to manage money, because as investors, we're investing, so we're trying to make our money worth more, and we've got the challenge of, but the great thing about the bounce back loans is the term has been extended. So we've got longer to
Yeah.
pay back the bounce back loan, which brings back the repayment costs, and the interest rates were already very low. The interest payments, the payments don't start till after a year, and it's hard to find cheaper money than that. So
Yeah,
that's a
exactly.
great use.
If it was if he was getting working with an investor, for example, the repayment would probably be 5 to 10%, and yeah, the bounce back loans it's like less than 2%, something like that. But yeah.
Oh, I'm glad I asked that question, because I was thinking, oh, should I ask? But I'm glad I did ask, because that's useful for people to see that there's different ways. And to be honest, when you set up your business, you didn't know about the bounce back loans. When you were set up in November. So that's what I say to people as well. Once you get on the path and you're in the thing, and you're fully committed, other opportunities open up to you that you wouldn't see if you weren't already on the path.
Definitely.
So very, very cool, that is. Maureen saying it's very inspiring to know that the letters work. And we've had a hello from another person whose name I can't see. So we've talked about, getting started with the letters, the agents. We've talked about the refurbs. Let's talk about the tenanting, because here again is another area where people worry. And Kayleigh, you said you did night tenants. And do you know what? Nikki Taylor, my other half in the business, says that she didn't want to have tenants either.
No, before we even went into rent to rent, I just thought, no, I just like the idea of putting the house apart, doing by refurbish finance, putting the house apart, and then just selling it. I was like, I don't want to have tenants, but obviously things changed for us. And now, do you know what? I think the more hard work is actually getting the tenants once they're in. Well, for us anyway, we've been quite lucky with our tenants. We put processes in place to ensure we are getting good tenants. Respectful tenants. We go for professionals. And they have been good tenants. We could put, when we're advertising the rooms, we created a little form, like a little get to know you form. It's just a link we send to the tenant, just for them to fill out, just so we can understand a bit about them, so their age, their profession, how long they're looking to stay for, their start date, etc. Just so we can have a bit more of an understanding of them and their sort of situation. And that's been working really well for us, because in the beginning we were sort of like going to viewings with tenants without knowing anything about them other than their name, and getting there and then being, completely not what we were looking for, because we had a criteria. Our main thing, for me anyway, my main thing was always that we get similar tenants of like similar ages, similar jobs, hobbies, interests, that sort of thing. Just so they gel a bit more in the house. Because I mean, if you're living with 5 to 6 people, you want them to all get on. And obviously, if they do, they can. You've got the chances of them increasing their tenancy term. We did have a tenant the other day actually that she originally had a 6-month contract, and she extended for a year, which is great for us, and she's a great tenant. And I solely believe it's partly because the people she's living with, and where she's staying, we always say that we want to create a good environment for our tenants, so which is why we put these procedures in place. So we've been really lucky, and I think that's a big thing, putting procedures in. I'm a very good judge of character as well, which is why I personally like to go to the viewings all the time, so I can get an idea of the person as well. Because obviously, if I've already got tenants living in the property, I know the tenant, and I sort of think, would these people get on? That sort of thing. So yeah.
Yes, Kayleigh, I really like your getting to know you form. That sounds great. We do ask some questions as well before going to the viewing, but I just like the idea of that getting to know you form. Lovely. And so you keep well out of that side of things then, Troy, the tenants viewing.
I mean, I do some of the viewings as well.
Mhm.
Because right now I've managed to get myself like a day off in the middle of the week. So Wednesdays my days off. So yeah, when we didn't have the rooms full, the viewings would get booked in for Wednesday and the weekends. On Wednesday I'd go to the viewings. So yeah, I do that bit of it as well. Yeah, I mean it can take up some time because you know you do the viewings and not everyone wants a room.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, we had the two on the go at the one time. We had
Yes,
the 10 rooms,
I
and that
know.
was
How
crazy.
long did it take to fill them if you don't? Well,
Um,
yeah,
I maybe a couple of months, I think.
yeah, yeah.
We were quite lucky in one of them because we had 3 girls take 3 rooms.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
Mm.
They're all full now, but I think in the beginning, our sort of rush time was the end of August, and I think that's people wanting to move in for September and stuff like that. Even though they weren't students, we did get quite a lot of demand in August, which went really picked up. But before then, it was
yeah.
Before then it was a little bit slow. I think sort of just because everyone's a bit wary of the whole coronavirus thing. Do they want to move? Do they not? Like, I think people were just a bit on the edge. But I mean, it's a catch-22. Do people want to not move, or would they rather rent a room, which is potentially cheaper than their current accommodation, or a house? So, but yeah, they're all fully tenanted now.
Yeah. Okay. And we talked about how much did it cost to get ready and getting the house ready and tenants. So tell us about your situation now. You've got these properties. What are your plans?
Just to get some more deals
Yeah.
going.
So yeah, we want to hit a number of rent to rents in Bristol. It's 20 that we want to hit. And yeah, once you get to that amount and the profit just keeps on coming in, we want to eventually go into buy refurbish refinance as well. So we're not quite set on the location for that yet. We would like Bristol because Bristol, we like Bristol now. But yeah, that's pretty much the main direction what we're trying to go into now. Yeah, just specializing in the rent to rent, and then further than that, pushing to buy first refinance.
We're also because now we've got more time, sort of putting systems and stuff in place in the business just to make our lives a bit easier, and you know, potentially when the business expands, to then pass it down to someone else who's also going to be, you know, helping us fill the rooms and stuff like that. So systems are a big thing that we're getting into at the minute.
Yeah, I know. I can't do without them. If people want to see you, because that's how we came across each other, isn't it, on Instagram? And if people want to see the properties before and afters, get themselves a little bit more Kayleigh and Troy, then they can go over to TK Lifestyle Properties at TK Lifestyle Properties on Instagram, and chat you up over there. What advice would you give to people who are wanting to get started but maybe are feeling a little bit anxious about it?
My advice would be do the research, and also whether you want to. I know some people are a bit on the fence about training. For us, training was a really beneficial thing. It led us to sort of where we are today, really. But I mean, if you're not into sort of the training, at least, you know, get into property networking groups. You know, follow property investors, influencers on YouTube, Instagram. Just get involved as much as you can. Network with people. Just learn as much as you can. And do your research before once you've picked your strategy, do your research into your area, obviously if you're going into HMOs and stuff like that, you want to look into spare room and stuff like that, the prices of rooms before you go into purchasing a house. Yeah, that's a big thing. Research and do your numbers. Make sure your numbers match.
So is it like you thought it would be?
No,
no. No.
not really.
I thought it'd be easier, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I thought I'd get more of these no money down deals, if I'm honest. I mean, I still believe they're possible, to be honest, because like some of the ones that's in the pipeline now, I believe we can actually get it done. But yeah, in terms of actually getting that done, I think it's definitely harder than expected.
That's another thing linking onto that. I think for us as well, getting our first deal and getting over that line, I think a lot of people turned us away because, and they did actually say this, that we're not established enough, and stuff like that. And I know it's really difficult for people in the beginning, but for me, what I think would help you in the beginning is set up your own website, get your socials going, you know, be the professional side, just that, to have that little bit, even though you've got nothing behind you, and also act like you know what you're doing, act like you don't have to lie. I'm not saying lie, but act like you've done it and you know what you're doing, because that will help you and persuade people more to go with you. And also, if I think a lot of people go through you because of you, if that makes sense. I don't know how to word it, but you've got to tell yourself, like, you know, be yourself, be genuine, you know, you can be honest, but I think a lot of people do go through you just for you selling yourself.
Well, a load of golden nuggets in there, Kayleigh. I really loved what you're saying, and you're so true, because, you know, when I saw your profile on the Instagram, I thought you'd been going for donkeys. So I was surprised when you said, you know, it was actually just this year that you got going. And the other thing is, you said that people want you. Yes, a lot of people will turn you away and say you're not established enough. But then there'll be somebody who'll say, do you know what? I want Kayleigh and Troy. And, you know, something you said earlier, Kayleigh, which was that you want to match up the tenants and make sure that people are going to get on together and so on and that. And I think that shows, you know, heart and, you know, that bit of insight and the wanting to go the next level. And I think when people meet you, they can instantly see that. They can sense that coming, emanating. So absolutely, I think if you want something, and actually getting a rent to rent is, you know, it's just renting a property, something that thousands of people do every day. There are some nuances to it and things to get right, as you said, but you can set your sights on it and get it if it's what you want. But I think that what happens is a lot of people give up beforehand, because it can be dispiriting, you know, when you get a no.
Definitely. I mean, we've had so many no's, and it's been tough. It is. You do come to those points in life where you're like, is this just not for us? But just don't give up, because someone will say yes. You can get 100 no. I think it's Lady Gaga or someone said you can have 100 people, no, 99 people in the room that will say no, but that one person will say yes.
And that's the life changer. So was it one landlord with 2 properties? Was it your first one?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that was like our first. A lot of HMO landlords seem to have 2 properties, and it was ours was a 5 and a 4. But yeah, we had that nerve-wracking moments of you do it all up. In our case, we spent loads. And so we got it all done up. We've got all the rooms on spare room. I'm like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work? What if nobody takes these?
Yeah.
What if everyone was right? We've had another comment in. Nosy says, that's what I did at the beginning, acted confident as if I'd done it before. And I think as well, building up your online, having a little website and all the rest of it makes you feel more confident as well. So that when you go out and talk to people, it comes off a little bit that way as well towards them. So is there anything else that you want to share, people, that we haven't touched upon or that I haven't asked you today?
What is it sort of about us, or some advice, or?
I think a good thing actually. Sorry, I'm just going off the back of the advice bit as well, because I think it's definitely important to always work on yourself as well, because the more skills you've got, the more effective that you'll be as well. So yeah, I like to read books and take actions on the books as well. And like when you read books, you read different ones. Obviously, it has to be based on what you're doing. So, for example, sales, marketing, property related books, etc., etc. Yeah, when you keep on reading them, it like touches different parts in the brain, and then it sort of just clicks together and just helps you, just give you jet fuel to just get on and just do it. So I think that's a really good thing, and courses as well. That's good.
And
yeah.
what can you think of any books that recently that you've thought, yeah, oh gosh, that's a game changer right there?
So I think my biggest game changer was Rich Dad Poor Dad, because that got me into thinking of property is the way to go, or just being a business owner, that's the way to go. And Go for No, that's a really good book. That's a really good book. What else? Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. That's a really good book as well. For the sales bit. I mean those are the top three that's coming to mind right now. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot, but those are the three that's come to mind right now.
Okay, what about you, Kayleigh?
To be honest with you, I'm not much of a book reader. One thing I am trying to get into is book reading. I have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was a really good book, and it's very it opens your mind massively. And then I also read another Grant Cardone one, was the Tenants Rule. Yeah, and that's another one. Like, I'm not really I always find my mind all over the place, and I can't really get my head set into a book. But those two, I really got attached to, because you learn so much. And the 10x one as well, especially, that's very inspiring, very motivating.
Are you a detail person, Kayleigh?
Detail?
Yeah. Do you like detail and spreadsheets and stuff like that?
Not really. I do. It's because I've got to do them, but I don't. I color coordinate them to make them a bit more fun.
I was only asking that. My sister doesn't really like reading books, but she likes on. Do you listen on Audible? Is great. I used to love reading books, but now I hardly read books at all. Everything's on Audible. But yeah.
I think I just need to. For me, it's one of those things where even with Audible, if I start listening to something, my mind will go somewhere else, like, oh, I need to clean, or just something. So for me, I am really trying to get into reading, because obviously Troy reads a lot of books, so he's got a lot of recommendations for me. So yeah, I'll let you know how I get on.
Yeah, well, it'll come when well, you've got to want to, isn't it? It's when something comes you really want to read, then obviously.
No, definitely, it's definitely something I want to sort of get myself into, challenge myself a bit to read some more books.
Cool.
But for now, Troy, he gives me a lot of tips and advice from the books he reads.
Pretty much just
every day.
My ear off every time I've read a book.
Oh gosh, Troy, you sound like me, very annoying. I give people lots of unwanted advice as well. Well, I'm trying to do it less, but
the thing is, though, it's like I get so inspired by them, so I just want to share it.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes
people are like, I'm not interested. Leave me alone.
What can I do?
Feedback is very knowledgeable. At least it's stuff I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been amazing. Well, actually, let's touch on that. It's been amazing speaking to you guys. But what's it like? Well, having a business partnership, how has that worked? Has it changed your relationship now working together in the business?
I think it has. I think we've become a lot stronger. We're completely different but similar in the same way. Troy's very, let's go, let's do this, and I'm very, hold on, can we just plan this? And I think that's sort of what you need as well. Although I don't want to be the break on the business, it is sort of good to have that someone there, I think, just to be like, he's up there to push me and I'm there to sort of be like, hold on, can we just think about this? And the other thing is he's actually an accountant, and I'm more in the admin operation sort of role, so we work well in that sense where he does the numbers and I do the sort of organization of everything, bringing everything into place. So we do work quite well.
The lockdown situation helped a lot because that's when we spent a lot more time together and working on the business, because before that it was sort of, we're working full time and on the weekend we're trying to grind out as well, but it didn't feel like there was that much of a sync. But when the lockdown happened and we was like forced to be with each other, it sort of helped us sync a bit more. And again, sort of it just helps a lot, to sync a lot.
I think we've become a lot more creative, a lot more open-minded. I think because that sounded silly, we had the time to sort of talk a lot more without sounding really silly, because we worked 9 to 5. I mean, some days he was coming home before lockdown, he was coming home at like 9, 10 in the evening. So it helped a lot.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think being in business, some people make some breaks, but I think it is bonding, because you can, especially when you've got very different personalities, you can see the strengths of the other person helping in the business, and it just gives you a different insight into the things that previously you may have found irritating, or that maybe it's just me with Nikki. It was very irritating. But Sam Curtis says, thanks for this interview, guys. And Stella is saying, thanks for sharing. Maureen is saying, what's the Instagram name? So I'm going to put that back on the screen so people can follow. So it's TK Lifestyle Properties on Instagram, or you can search for, if they search for Kayleigh and Troy, would it come up?
No.
No, I mean, our personal ones will come up. But yeah, it's the business ones, TK Lifestyle Properties.
TK Lifestyle Properties on Instagram, and you can catch up with the guys over there. And we've also had a question from Carol, which will be interesting to see the answer to. Carol's asked some good questions today. Actually, how many hours a day do you work on the business when you both work full time?
Do you know what? We sort of did an activity the other day where we sort of had to put together, because like I said, we're putting systems in place and we're sort of bringing it all together, where we had to figure out what the most important jobs are and how long we spend on them. And it's quite difficult because, well, for me, because I manage the socials, the tenants and all that sort of thing, it just depends on, the socials is always an ongoing thing, but the tenants, like I said, there was one point where we were filling 10 rooms at once, and that was a lot of time. Obviously I work 9 to 5, so I would find myself on lunch responding to tenants as soon as I could, get home, respond to tenants, book viewings in, go through the forms, etc., and then also the social media. And then we'd be, sometimes after work, we'd go to viewings on the evening. Obviously Troy would go on a Wednesday, and then obviously on the weekend would take a lot of our time up with viewings, which was, in all honesty, the main bulk of the business, other than when we had to get the property ready.
I
but it's
mean,
hard to say how
I think if we was to round it up to hours a day, like for example, in the weekday, it'll probably be 2 to 3 hours, and then on the weekend, probably
all day on the weekend.
yeah, that's it. You know, we're doing viewings and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, when the property is full and there's no problems, you know, we don't really have to spend time on the property on the weekend, but we spend time, you know, doing the systems on the weekend, writing blogs, getting the socials ready. So probably weekend. Yeah, and that as
You guys
well.
love it, don't you? I think I think you're just on there all the time because yeah, once the house is full, you know, you don't need to put so much time into it, but you're still wanting to put time in because you do your blogs, you do your socials, you can't stay off it basically. And you know, you're excited for it. And it's kind of, you know, what you want to be doing so that you can maybe you know, get into your next step. I'm guessing that you're asking about the lease options. We found that we did get some, you know, lease options just through doing our rent to rent. You're still early days at the moment, but that might be a way to actually, you know, get started with your buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yeah, that's true. There is actually one of the deals that's a lease option. It's not. So yeah, I mean, it's on a 7-year contract. The price it hasn't been agreed yet though. That's the thing. But what it is that it's sort of we negotiate the price at the time that we want to sort of buy it. So it's open. It's sort of a lease option agreement. It's not the you know the one that you normally see. So, you know, you agree the price right there and then years later down, buy at that agreed price. But yeah, we're still happy for that because the property right now is a great property. And yeah, it's a great HMO, got great tenants in there as well. And
it's recently happy with it. Sorry, it's recently been refurbed as well. So unfortunately, that's too much more to it. So
you want to put a ring on it though, you know, get the contract signed as soon as you can.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not all signed and sealed until then, but it's been amazing speaking to you both. You've got such energy and vibrancy, and you know, I really love what you're doing, the heart that's in it, and you can just see from what you've got on Instagram, where I do hope people go across and get to know you a little bit better over at TK Lifestyle Properties over on Instagram. So just want to thank you for coming to join us this evening, being so real about what you've achieved, and congratulations on achieving so much in such a short period of time. So we really are, you know, going now. So if there's any final words of inspiration or advice to people who are watching.
Don't give up. Your time will come.
Be persistent, stick to one strategy, and go smash it.
Don't let doubt and fear get in the way as well.
Brilliant.
You've got to take risks in life.
As long as the numbers are right and the due diligence is done, then just go for it. Get the gold mine area sorted and go for it.
Brilliant. And I think that's a great note to end on. Carol's just saying, you have been brilliant. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Kayleigh and Troy. Thank you for watching and for listening. And I will see you again very, very soon for another Rent to Rent Rockstars episode. Bye for now.